Hello, Gentle Explainer here. Today I'm going to gently explain a drama romance movie called Lovelace. This is the story of a girl who thought marriage would be the beginning of a new life, but fate handed her over to a dealer who, under the pretense of love, auctioned her off in front of the camera. Gradually, she became a commodity. Her smile in front of the camera was fake, but the pain inside was real. She was sold every day. She died in every scene, but the world just applauded. She became an adult star. But the girl inside her is still searching for herself. That's what we'll explore in today's story. The story begins with a girl named Linda, a very famous star in the adult film industry. Her last film was very popular, but despite this, it seemed as if she was deeply sad and troubled by something. From here, we are shown in flashback how everything began in Linda's life and how she became an adult star. The time is 1970. One day, when Linda's mother wasn't home, she was relaxing by the swimming pool with her best friend, Patsy. Patsy jokingly unbuttons her underwear, but Linda tells her not to. Her boyfriend had done something wrong to her a year earlier, which is why she still feels insecure about it. Patsy tells her she's 21 years old and should live freely. Linda says, "You know what happened to me, and if my mother sees this, she'll scold me." Suddenly, Linda's mother, who is very strict, returns home and, upon seeing her in these clothes, scolds her and tells her to come home immediately. Later that evening, they go skating at a club where a band is performing. Patsy tells the bartender that they're just missing a dancer. With that, they both go on stage and start dancing, enjoying themselves. Just then, we see a boy named Chuck, who is watching Linda intently. Linda ignores him at first, but after leaving, Chuck says, "You two could become professional dancers, which would earn you a lot of money." Linda says, "That's a good joke, but who would pay to watch me dance?" Chuck laughs and replies, "I could pay a lot of money to watch you." Linda understands that he's trying to flirt and tells Patsy that it's getting late and they should head home. But Chuck starts talking to her very nicely, and they become very good friends. Then, a few days later, one night, when Linda was about to go to a party, her mom asked, "Where are you going tonight?" She replied, "I'm going to the party with Patsy, and I'll be back by 11. This party was actually Chuck and Linda's first date. They talked a lot and even kissed. Chuck behaved very nicely around her. They seemed to be liking each other, but there was something else going on here, which we'll soon discover. After spending some time together, Linda said, "I have to go home early, otherwise Mom will scold me." Chuck then went to drop her off, but seeing Linda's sadness from the start, he asked, "Maybe you're worried about something. If you want, you can tell me." So Linda says, "It's very important to tell you that a year ago, I accidentally got pregnant. And my family didn't approve of it at all, so my mom gave my child up for adoption. That's why she's very strict with me. And if I talk to you, she'll never agree." Chuck says, "Plan a dinner and introduce me to your parents. I guarantee they'll love me. And if they don't, you can come and stay at my house for a night." Hearing this, Linda starts laughing. The next day, she invites Chuck over for dinner, where Chuck reveals that he was in the army because Linda's father was also a police officer, so he tries his best to impress them. After dinner, when the parents start watching TV, Linda and Chuck go into the kitchen. Both of them were very happy because Linda's parents had accepted Chuck. After this, the two become very close. Then, with Linda's parents' permission, Chuck brings her to his house on the pretext of taking her to a movie. There, they become close and share some beautiful moments. Linda now completely trusts Chuck, and Chuck loves her deeply and manages to win her trust. After their romance, when Linda arrives home late, her mother slaps her. The next day, enraged, Linda leaves home and moves in with Chuck. Their days begin to flow smoothly, and they spend time together happily. One night, a party is going on at Chuck's house. Many of his friends, including Linda's friend Patsy, are there. While Chuck is watching an adult film, Linda goes looking for him and says, "I've never seen one like that, because good girls never watch it." Chuck replies, "Don't be shy, I'll teach you everything." Later that night, they grow closer. At Chuck's insistence, Linda begins doing things she never considered right, just to keep him happy. Chuck secretly records all of this. Then, we see them get married. 6 months later, Chuck suddenly calls from the police station and informs them that he's been arrested. Linda goes and rescues him, then asks, "What did you do?" Chuck says, "I told you not to question my work." Linda knew that Chuck supplied dancer girls, but now his words reveal that he's also involved in prostitution. Chuck explains, "Those girls need money, so I just help them. But the police mess ruined my entire plan, and now I'm in dire need of money." Then, an idea comes to him, and he takes Linda to a production company where he already knew the director. The director, after watching Linda's audition, doesn't say anything to her. Then, sending her out to get coffee, he tells Chuck that this girl won't work because people want naughty girls these days. And she seems so innocent. Chuck begins to plead with the directors, but they refuse, saying, "Don't ruin this innocent girl's life like this. And most importantly, you didn't even tell her what she's auditioning for." But Chuck stoops so low for money that he shows the directors the intimate video he secretly recorded. The directors are surprised, and Linda is cast in the film. The next day, shooting begins, where Linda's makeup is being done. Just then, the film's investor, Anthony, arrives and tells Linda, "I've seen your work. You'll be a big star." Linda is overjoyed to hear this, but her happiness isn't genuine, as was clearly evident on her face. Before the shoot, Linda is a little nervous and practicing. Then the film's hero, Harry, comes and motivates Linda, saying, "You'll do great. When we're in a scene together, everything will be fine. So don't worry." After this, the film's opening scene is shot. Linda performs very well, and everyone praises her. However, Anthony, seeing Chuck, tells Butch that Chuck could cause problems the next day when Linda's intimate scene is shot. So, Anthony's man, Butch, tells Chuck that he needs to go to Miami and get the reels. Otherwise, shooting could be interrupted. Chuck says that Linda will need him tomorrow, but at Butch's insistence, he has to go. The next day, shooting begins, and Linda's performance amazes everyone. She does very well, and during the scene, the hero's timing is ruined. But the film turns out to be a great one, and everyone parties in the evening. Then Chuck returns and asks Linda, "Why don't you come and sit with Anthony?" Linda refuses, saying, "I'm having an important conversation, so you should go and sit." Later that night, shouting is heard from Chuck and Linda's room, but everyone assumes they're enjoying themselves. It's time for the movie poster shoot, which makes Linda a little nervous. The photographer tells her to feel like your character in the film. Linda does just that, and the photo shoot is perfect. When Linda sees her own photos, she feels beautiful for the first time. The film was released in theaters, and the light of success was about to shine on Linda's life. But Chuck was getting less money, so he spoke to Anthony. Anthony said, "I sponsored the entire film, so I'll get the lion's share. But don't worry, Linda is your wife, and she's going to be famous all over the world." As soon as the film is released, it becomes a hit in theaters, and a large number of people watch it, and the DVDs sell like hotcakes. Everyone starts talking about Linda. Interviews line up, and now Linda's dream becomes even bigger. She wants to become a real movie star, but when her parents find out, they are devastated. Now, one day, a private party is held where Linda meets Hefner, the editor of Playboy magazine, who is excited to see her and praises her profusely. He tells Linda, "You can become a real movie star, and I'll help you do that." We then see a scene from 6 years later. Linda, having left the film world, is writing her biography. However, the publisher summons her for a polygraph test to determine the truth behind what she's saying. Now, the true truth behind what we've been told in Linda's story is about to be revealed. In reality, Linda's life has been entangled ever since she married Chuck. Initially, Chuck showed her love, but gradually, he began to coerce and control her into everything, and Linda begins to understand this false love. Then, when the need for money grew, Chuck got her ready and took her to a club. Linda tried to question him several times, but he kept insisting, "You're my wife, and we should do something together for money." A doctor at the club had seen Linda dance and was attracted to her, And that's where it all began. Chuck made a deal and forced her into a room with the doctor, gradually forcing her to fully commit to this act. If Linda refused, Chuck would beat her severely. Distressed by all this, one night Linda went to her mother and told her that Chuck was beating her, so could she stay for a few days? But instead of comforting her, her mother started explaining, "I got pregnant at 18, so I had to endure a lot in this society. But then your dad supported me. Now, if you stay at our house without your husband, people will start taunting you. You might have done something wrong. So go to your husband right now and do whatever he says." Her mother's words break Linda's heart. She just wanted some time to be with her, but her mother wouldn't let her stay at home. Just then, Chuck calls, and her mother asks her to take Linda. After returning home, Chuck says, "Now you'll be doing a movie, the kind of movie that people enjoy watching." When Linda refuses, he threatens her with a gun and forces her to do it. For a few days, Chuck puts her through a lot of pain and suffering, preparing her for the adult film. After this, Linda, out of fear, does everything she never wanted to do. At the evening party after filming the first film, when Chuck asked Linda to sit with Anthony, she refused. Later, when they went to their room, Chuck beat Linda severely because she had disobeyed him, while everyone else thought they were having fun. Her life continued in this helpless state. Then one day, when Linda goes to visit her friend Patsy, Chuck is also with her. Patsy says, "I'm so worried about you. Is Chuck forcing you to do all these things you're doing in the movie?" Linda wanted to tell Patsy everything, but Chuck was listening from the outside. So she lies, saying, "I'm so lucky Chuck is my husband." Then, at a party, Chuck argues with Anthony about money. Anthony says, "I'll pay Linda $1 million for the next movie, and I've already told her this." But Linda didn't tell Chuck this. In a fit of rage, Chuck beats him again. He then buys himself a luxurious house with the money from Linda's movie, starts a toy business with a man, and hires a writer to publish a fake biography of Linda. Anthony arrives to demand his money back, as he had taken a lot of extra money from him for the next movie. Chuck says he'll pay it in a few days. Anthony insists he convince Linda to do one more movie. We then see in a scene where, after Linda's film is released, Hefner lures her into spending a night with him, promising to make her a real star. This deeply saddens Linda, as she has gradually become a commodity. Then one night, Linda calls her parents. Her dad says, "We know everything about your film. Did we raise you for this day?" Linda is heartbroken, but she can't open up to her dad. Just then, Chuck arrives home and asks Linda to do another film. This time, Linda refuses, saying she won't do such films anymore. Hearing this, Chuck doesn't say much to her. He simply sweetly asks her to a party. Instead, he tricks her into taking him to a hotel, where he trades her with a Hollywood director for a small sum of money. Linda, understanding all this, refuses. But Chuck threatens her again with a gun. After which, several people enter the room. She is forced into it, while Chuck listens from outside the door. On the way home, Linda gets out of the car and tries to escape, but after a short distance, she falls and gets injured. Just then, a police car pulls up, but Chuck claims he's her husband, so the police, without any suspicion, tell them to go home, and Linda, too frightened, can't say anything. The next morning, while Chuck is sleeping, Linda sneaks out and goes straight to Anthony. Anthony says, "Just do one more film, and then all your debts will be paid off." But Linda tells him everything, saying that Chuck tortures her and forcibly takes all her money. Therefore, she can no longer film. Seeing her plight, Anthony feels pity for her and offers her a safe house to live in, supporting her. Meanwhile, Chuck searches for her everywhere and becomes increasingly angry. Finally, he locates her at a location and arrives there at night with a gun. But Linda is not there. But Anthony is there with his men. Anthony, furious, declares that Linda will never come back to him. Saying this, he beats her severely with his belt and tells her that she must return all his money. The story then shifts to Linda's present, where she lives happily in a beautiful home. She has a husband and a lovely son and is writing her real biography. The publisher calls and informs her that her polygraph test has been completed and the story has been approved. Her husband asks, "Do you really want to tell the world about yourself?" Linda replies, "Yes, everyone should know about me." After her book is published, she becomes famous worldwide, and her interview is shown on TV. Her mom and dad are also watching. During the interview, the anchor asks, "So many people read your book, and they have so many questions. Why didn't you speak up when all this was happening? If you wanted, you could have gotten out of all this long ago. Now this thing can follow you for the rest of your life." Linda replies, "A few bad times can't define my entire life. Who I am today is my reality, and I'm happy with that. We've been taught since childhood to do whatever our husband says, and when I first met Chuck, he was a very gentlemanly guy. But gradually, his behavior began to change, forcing me to do things like that. I never wanted to do that, but I was forced by circumstances. I wanted to get out of all this, but I didn't get any support." Her mother also hears this and is deeply saddened because despite being a mother, she couldn't understand her daughter's pain. After this, the parents, who hadn't even spoken to their daughter for so many years, now invite Linda home, hug her, and cry a lot. Now, they are a complete family once again, living happily. Linda's book gave her true identity, and through her biography, she sent a message to everyone that if you are honest and truly want change, it's never too late to change yourself. I hope you liked this movie explain video. If you want to see more similar movie explain videos, then you can watch this video by clicking here. Now I go and see you in the next video.